Hello everyone, this is Donnie Howard from Tyler, Texas, the home of the Rose City Empire of Diamonds. Today I want to talk about the law of navigation from John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. John says anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Lots of people set out on journeys and missions using different strategies, going different routes, having the same goals in mind to reach the same destination. John gave examples of two explorers setting out to be the first to reach the South Pole. Their stories were life and death illustrations of the laws of navigation. Roald Amundsen, a Norwegian explorer, carefully charted his course before his team ever set off on their trip. He painstakingly studied the methods of the Eskimos and other experienced Antarctic travelers and determined that their best course of action was to transport all their equipment and supplies by dog sled. When he assembled his team, he chose expert skiers and dog handlers. His strategy was the dogs would do most of the work, traveling 15 to 20 miles a day in a 6-hour period. This would allow both the team and the dogs plenty of time to rest each day for the next day's travel. His forethought and attention to detail were incredible. He also located and stock supplies depots all along the route. That way they wouldn't have to carry every bit of their supplies with them the whole trip. He also equipped his team with the best gear possible, carefully considering every possible aspect of the journey, thinking it through and planning accordingly. The other explorer, Robert Falcon Scott, violated the laws of navigation. He chose motorized sledges and ponies. Their problems began. The sledge's motors stopped working only 5 days into the trip. The ponies didn't fare well in the frigid temperatures either. After reaching the foot of the transatlantic mountains, all the poor animals had to be killed and the team was left carrying the heavy supplies. Their clothes were very insufficient and the team suffered frostbite. They were blinded by snow because they had inadequate goggles and constantly ran low on food and water. The depots were too far apart, poorly marked, making them hard to find and not very well stocked. After 10 weeks, they finally reached their destination, only to find the Norwegians' flags already there more than a month earlier. Their trip back was horrific, and Scott and the whole team died. Scott had courage, but he didn't have leadership. Followers need leaders who are able to effectively navigate for them. When the team is facing life and death situations, the necessity is painfully obvious. But even when consequences aren't as serious, the need is just as great. The truth is, nearly anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Navigators see the trip ahead, and a good leader remains focused. Controlling your decisions and directions is better than being controlled by it. That's why a leader sees the whole trip in their mind before they even begin the journey. They have a vision for their destination, understands what it takes to get them there, know who they will need on the team to be successful, and recognize obstacles long before they appear over the horizon. A leader is one who sees more than others see, who sees farther than others see, and sees before others do. The larger the organization, the more clearly the leader has to be able to see ahead, because if there's an error, more people will be affected. Where the leader goes, the team follows. Before leaders take their people on a journey, they go through a process in order to give the trip the best chance of being a success. Navigators draw on past experiences. Every past success and failure can be a source of information and wisdom if you allow it to be. Success teaches you about yourself and what you are capable of doing with your particular gifts and talents. Failures show what kind of wrong assumptions you've made and where your methods are flawed. Failing to learn from your mistakes will cause you to fail again. Effective navigators start with experience, but don't stop there. Navigators listen to what others have to say. No matter how much you learn from the past, it will never tell you all you need to know for the present. Top-notch navigators gather information from many sources. They gather ideas from members of the leadership team, people in their organization to find out what's going on in the field. And they also spend time with leaders from outside the organization who can mentor them. Navigators examine the conditions before they make the commitments. They make sure their conclusions represent faith and fact. They understand that self-deception can cost them their vision. If you don't live by the law of navigation and go in with your eyes wide open, you will get blindsided. Realistic leaders are objective enough to minimize illusions. It is tough to balance optimism and realism, intuition and planning, faith and fact, but that is what it takes to be effective as a navigating leader. This is Donnie Howard with the Empire of Diamonds, EOD, EOD, EOD.